Hey guys, good morning. Happy Monday. I hope you guys had a pretty good weekend. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into it because yeah, here we go. All right, so we are working on adaptations this week. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and go through the vocabulary before we do anything else. Or actually, wait, hold on. I did want to shout out everybody who has been completing their STEM scopes work and who has been doing their study island work. Abril has been killing it. Justin has been killing it. Alex C, I saw that you got to do the activity from last week and that was awesome. Oscar, you guys have both been killing it, both Oscars actually. Everybody's doing a really amazing job. Literally, I have a list of like 20 or 30 kids. I need to write it down because a lot more people have been participating. You guys are turning stuff in. So let me get that list together so I can shout y'all out on Zoom this week whenever we get together. But yeah, I'm super just thankful that y'all are getting your work done and trying to stay caught up so that you know what you're doing in fifth grade. And also, I'm really, really happy that you guys seem to be enjoying the activities more than anything. I know sometimes you might think that we just want to throw all this work at you, and I promise that is not true, okay? But seeing y'all actually do the activities and enjoy them and learn from them and really like understand what we are discussing because you're doing the activities is really, really cool to see. And I think it's cool for your parents to see too. From what I've heard, I've got nothing but good feedback as far as that goes. I understand that sometimes y'all don't have the materials, but the people that have done it, when they do have the materials, not one of them has regretted it. Everybody has enjoyed themselves. So don't overlook those. They're actually not that bad and they're actually pretty fun, okay? So yeah, I just wanted to say that real quickly and just be listening up for your name whenever we get on Zoom tomorrow or Thursday, because I have a long list of people to shout out, okay? All right, now let's get started. All right, so our vocabulary words are all towards adaptations this week, okay? We talked about this a little bit at the very beginning of the year because, hold on, I can't talk and do it at the same time. Okay, that's what I was trying to do. We talked about this a little bit at the very beginning of the year when we talked about like traits and structures and functions and stuff, but we didn't get too into the adaptations part, so that's what we're gonna be doing today. All right, predator. A predator is an organism that hunts and feeds on another animal. Prey. Prey is an animal that is hunted as food. Adaptation. An adaptation is an inherited trait that becomes more common by helping individuals that have it to survive and reproduce. Characteristics are features that help identify something. So for example, these ears, the tail, the trunk make it very easy for us to identify that this animal is a elephant. Camouflage. Coloring or other physical characteristics that help an organism to blend in with its surroundings. Do y'all see anything right here? I don't know, I'm just kidding. But if you look closely right here, this little chameleon or gecko, or I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know what kind of animal that is, but right here, can y'all see it now? There's that little animal. He was camouflaged in the plants, in little plantitas. Environment, the space, conditions, and all the living and non-living things around an organism. Organism, a single living thing. Look at the little bunny. Okay, and those are our vocabulary words. So organism, environment, camouflage, characteristics, adaptation, prey, and predator. None of these are brand new to y'all. So hopefully you'll understand all that. What am I saying? I'm sorry, y'all. It's Monday. It's been a weird morning. I don't even know what I'm saying. All right. So we're just going to focus on this STEM Scopedia today. Before we do that, let me show you what I assigned y'all on STEM Scopes. I assigned y'all this concept review game. I assigned y'all this like virtual safari. Well, it's more like you're watching them go on a safari. You're not really in it. I shouldn't call it that. And then this content connections video. and then I'm going to assign y'all the STEMscopedia article. But you know, if you're watching this video, you're going to end up having read through it. So just whenever we're done with the video, you don't have to like go start to get to work right away, but at least go to the STEMscopedia article and submit it. That way it shows that you have been doing your work. But most of y'all have been doing very, very, very good about that. So don't even really need to remind y'all. Here we go. A penguin swims through icy cold waters. It has special feathers that layer like shingles on a roof. These tightly packed feathers keep out cold water and keep its body heat in. The penguin also has special types of eyes. The lenses in its eye help it see above and below the water. Its powerful wings help it swim through the water. The penguin's feet help it steer as it swims. Being able to stay warm, see well, and swim quickly helps the penguin find food and avoid predators. What are some other characteristics that help animals survive in their environment? So not even just speaking penguins here, we could be talking about any kind of animal. What are some other characteristics that help animals survive in their environment? Think about that question, have some answers ready. We're going to be discussing that question on Tuesday and on Thursday in Zoom. So just going to kind of let you think on that, okay? Also, side note, remember you guys, if you're not able to make it to like our live Zoom lessons, they're uploaded on the Google Drive. So you can always go watch them later there. All right. What is meant by adaptation? An adaptation is any characteristic that helps a plant or animal survive in its environment. A penguin's feathers are an adaptation. The feathers keep the penguin warm. Where do adaptations come from? They develop over long periods of time. It takes many generations for adaptations to develop. Adaptations usually have something to do with where an organism lives. For example, animals that live in cold places have adaptations to keep them warm. Plants that live in dry areas have adaptations to help them conserve water. So, okay, so think about animals that are in a desert area. What kind of adaptations do you think that they would have? Remember, the desert is really dry. There's not much shade, not very many plants. The plants that are there don't need very much water to survive, like cactus. There's not really any bodies of water, or very many, because the desert's just so hot and dry. Good. Okay, so if you said adaptations to help them conserve water, like the plants, good. And the animals also have adaptations that are that help them be able to survive in that hot, dry environment as well. So how do external adaptations help organisms survive in their environment? If you remember, external means on the outside. So like my glasses are on the outside of my body. They're on the outside. Okay, I wear my glasses externally. I don't wear them internally. They're not worn inside my body. So a penguin's strong wings are an external adaptation. That's an adaptation that's outside of their body. Okay, we can see it. Here are some examples of other external adaptations. Bird beaks. Birds use their beaks to collect and eat food. A bird's beak is an adaptation to the type of food it eats. Beaks come in all shapes and sizes. For example, a hawk has a sharp, curved beak. This sharp beak helps it tear its food into small pieces. A hummingbird has a long, thin beak. This helps the hummingbird reach into flowers and suck up nectar. A pelican has a long beak with a pouch. This beak helps it scoop fish out of the water. If you remember at the very beginning of the year, around the time that the whole like bathroom situation happened and we were in a different classroom, we talked a lot about this when we were talking about structures and functions. Remember, birds' beaks was an external characteristic. It was an external adaptation or structure as well, and its function was to be able to pick up different foods. As we just read, each of these different beaks is made differently depending on what that bird eats, okay? Now, if their beak was not made for the food that they eat, would they be as likely to survive in their environment? Probably not. So it's crazy how something as small of a detail as a bird's beak is really, really important, because their beak kind of determines what they can and cannot eat. Which sometimes, like, I know growing up, I didn't think about that. I was just like, oh, everybody, like, all the birds are just made differently. Their beaks are just made that way for funsies, right? No, like, there's a purpose behind it, okay? If a hummingbird did not have that long, thin beak, they would have a really hard time getting the nectar they need out of the flowers. So just keep in mind that not everything's just randomly made, okay? A lot of structures, functions, adaptations, features, characteristics have purposes behind them as well. Okay, another external adaptation is plant leaves. So, just like animals, plants must be adapted to their environment in order to survive. Plant leaves are an important part of the plant. Plants need to absorb sunlight through leaves to make their own food. Also, water can escape from plant through the leaves. So, plants that live in dry climates usually have small leaves. The leaves may also be coated in thick wax. This prevents the plant from drying out. Plants in sunny, moist climates have big, wide leaves. Big leaves absorb lots of sunlight. In windy, cold climates, plants are usually short with small leaves. Short plants are more protected from wind. Some plants protect themselves with poison. Their leaves contain oils that annoy or even kill an organism that tries to eat the leaves. Special shout out to a certain somebody in our grade who had a little debacle with poison ivy this school year. I'm glad you made it through, girl. Okay, so another external adaptation is camouflage, okay? Camo is not just that cool print that you wear on your clothes sometimes. I'm funny. But camouflage is an adaptation that helps animals hide. So animals with camouflage look just like their environment. Camouflage allows an animal to hide from predators or to sneak up on prey. The mimic octopus is able to change the color of its skin. It can look like any object it is sitting near. This helps the octopus avoid being eaten. Lion fur is the same color as the dry grass in which a lion hunts. Being camouflaged allows lions to approach prey without being seen. So right here we have a picture example. As you can see, the lion is right there, and obviously we can see him. He's not super camouflaged, but all it takes is for him to kind of put his face down and creep nice and down low, and homeboy looks just like the grass. Okay, so if you want to try a cool activity, I do recommend you try this. This is actually kind of fun, and it's pretty easy, okay? So plants that live in dry, hot climates have thick, waxy leaves. The wax prevents water from leaving the plant. This activity demonstrates how wax protects a plant leaf. You will need 2 small pieces of white construction or notebook paper, a bowl of water, and a crayon. The instructions are right here. I'm not going to read through them all the way. But if you want to try this activity just for fun, you can pause this, or you can just pull up the STEMscopedia article on your own. And this is a really cool way to observe what happens to the paper that's soaked in wax and what happens to the paper that's not soaked in wax. Okay, if we look at this picture right here on the right, it shows a bird that lives in a cold, snowy place. What are some external adaptations that you think allow this bird to survive? So some outside adaptations, things on the outside of this bird's body that allow this bird to survive. Awesome. So the most obvious one is the color of the bird. Okay, it's white. It's white probably so it can camouflage itself in the snow. Okay, and then something else I noticed is just how thick and fluffy this little bird's feathers are. Like, I low-key just want to hug the bird. It looks so soft. But they're probably really thick and fluffy to keep the bird warm. Obviously, this bird is living in a really cold environment. And I also see that the bird is a little chunky, okay, and he or she is probably chunky on purpose, because that is another feature that could keep them warm. But I don't know if that counts as an external adaptation. Color of the bird, bird's feathers, definitely. Chunkiness of the bird, not so much. Okay, so something important to remember is that organisms cannot choose their adaptations. For example, an animal living in a cold environment can't just choose to grow thick fur one day. I wish I could wake up one day and just decide to grow blonde hair, but that's not how life works for us, and it's not how life works for these animals either. Adaptations develop over time. They are passed down from generation to generation. Animals with adaptations that help them survive pass these adaptations on to their young. I personally do not agree with that statement all the way, but that's also because I don't believe in evolution. So keeping my personal feelings out of that, if evolution was true, then the way that adaptations develop would also be true. But yeah, so I'm just going to leave it at that. So I know when we did talk about this in class, it did create a bit of a fun discussion, actually, just because some people were arguing that this is not possible at all because of what they believe, and then other people were arguing that this is totally possible because of evolution. So if you feel differently about this, cool. If you don't feel differently about this, you agree with it, that's great too, okay? But I'm not going to get too deep into it. I just wanted to address those of you that are reading this like, whoa, what? Hold on, that's not what we talked about. Okay, and yeah, that's it. Let's move on. Okay, how do internal adaptations help organisms survive in their environment? Plants, animals, and other living things have adaptations that you cannot see. So remember, external adaptations, adaptations that were on the outside, we can see because they're on the outside, duh. But internal adaptations, we can't see. Why? Because they're inside. They are internally, okay? So for example, some animals hibernate. Well, you can actually see a bear sleeping. No, I'm just kidding. But that is an internal adaptation. Sleep is not like a outside characteristic. So a hibernating animal goes to sleep or is dormant during cold weather. They do not have to hunt for food. They just rest until springtime. That kind of sounds like us right now. This adaptation allows animals such as bears to survive the winter. Some animals are warm-blooded. This adaptation allows them to keep their body temperature the same, no matter how hot or cold it is outside. Humans are also warm-blooded, as are all mammals. Plants have internal adaptations too. Some plants have special chemicals in their cells that help them grow toward sunlight. Plants also have an adaptation that allows them to make their own food inside their cells. If y'all remember this from the week 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I don't even know, y'all. It feels like one long day now. But we talked about photosynthesis, okay? That's the adaptation that allows them to make their own food inside their cells, remember? Plants get their energy from the sun, and with that energy, they are able to photosynthesize their own food and help them be self-sufficient. Okay. All right, so you can totally skim through this if you want. This kind of went down with our evolution versus other beliefs discussion. So I'm not going to get too deep into this, but there's that. Okay, so to go ahead and wrap up for today, whoa, I made that really small. We're going to go ahead and fill this in. All right, let me get my little pen. Okay. The table below lists plant and animal adaptations. Each list of adaptations has one item that does not belong. Circle the item that does not belong. Use the space in the right column to explain why the item does not belong. All right, so item number, or group of items number 1, a hard turtle shell, a sharp curved beak, and hibernation. Okay, so we're talking about turtles here, obviously, because they're the only ones who have turtle shells. Okay, turtles do have sharp curved beaks. Anybody who has had a pet turtle before knows that. Okay, but even though turtles are really chill, they do not hibernate. Okay, so hibernation does not belong. Oh. Hibernation does not belong because it is not an adaptation of a turtle. Extra points for me for writing incomplete sentences. All right, next group. All right, camouflage. Small leaves covered in thick wax. Poisonous leaves. Which item does not belong? Camouflage, small leaves covered in thick wax, poisonous leaves. I'm gonna go ahead and say camouflage doesn't belong. We're gonna check our work because I could be wrong. Oh, did I spell that right? Camouflage. No, I did not. Kind of a tricky word. Camouflage does not belong because it is not a plant adaptation. We're talking about animals? Yes, because animals do camouflage. Plants, on the other hand, do not. All right, and last one. An octopus that can change color, warm-blooded. An insect that looks exactly like a twig. Which one does not belong? Okay, good. If you said an insect that looks wait, hold on. Let me think through this. I'm just trying to rush. Octopus that can change color. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Because aren't ocean animals cold-blooded and not warm-blooded? See, guys, it's okay. I don't even know everything. Let's check. Ah, okay. I see. All right, so that makes sense. It's all right to admit you don't know it all, y'all. Sometimes it's all right. So the one that doesn't belong is warm-blooded. Okay, that's why I was confused. Because I was like, I know an octopus is cold-blooded, but an insect that looks like a twig and warm-blooded, like those aren't two really characteristics that usually you discuss together. But the octopus that can change color and the insect that looks like a twig both can camouflage to their environment. Warm-blooded, so warm-blooded does not belong because it does not camouflage to its environment. Okay, there we go. So that's our little activity right there. That was actually pretty interesting because I thought I was like pretty good on this stuff, but obviously I've lost a little bit of my knowledge. So that inspired me to get back on top of it. And hopefully this activity helped you as well, okay? All right, let's go ahead and keep going. Oh, I hate when it does that. That always looks so weird. Okay, there. All right, so down here is like a really fun activity that you can do if you have lots of different colored balls at home, or like I've even had some students play this with like fruits and stuff. I wouldn't recommend that because yeah, but hey, they did it too. So that's here if you want to do this, but I'm not requiring y'all to do that, okay? All right, so now let's go through what I am going to ask y'all to do, okay? Your assignments for the week are on the assignment slide in the Science Google Drive right here. Okay, so if you click on assignments, right there, okay? The materials for your activity are going to be here by the end of the day. But for now, you can start working on questions 1 through 5 on pages 25 through 29, and then you guys are only doing part 1. Plant adaptations. There's 2 activities this week and y'all aren't doing that, okay? So here's the questions. So here's the questions. Question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this is the activity you're doing. Okay, the plant pictures and materials will be on the assignments page later today. And it's only on this page, okay? So you're gonna do the activity, fill this in, answer this question, and that's it for the activity, okay? And please make sure you're taking a picture and sending to me as you finish. Don't feel like you're blowing up my phone. You're not the only one, okay? Or my email. You're not the only one. Okay, part 2, bird beaks, you do not need to worry about. just because sadly we don't have the materials. Well, not everybody really has the materials to do this, but this would have been a really fun one to do in class. Okay, so you're not worried about that. All right. So once again, oh shoot, what'd I do? There's your assignments, and then the materials for your plant adaptations activity will be here later today, okay? All right, y'all, so that is it for today. I really, really, really miss y'all. Like, I would give anything to just give y'all a hug. I just miss y'all's faces. It's been really good to be able to see y'all on Zoom. Again, as always, if you have any questions at all, like you're not bothering me, I promise, message me, blooms me, text me at this point. Do whatever you need to do to get your questions answered and your work done, okay? It was nice to talk to y'all. Hopefully y'all learned something today. This is something y'all are really good at, and I think today was just a good review to kind of get that fresh on your mind again, okay? So let's make this week a great week. We have about a month of school left, a month of school. So yeah, let's do it. Let's finish strong, okay, guys? I miss y'all. I love y'all. Virtual hugs, and see y'all tomorrow. Bye. I'm trying to end the meeting. Hold on. Okay.